There's some discussion in the chat about Justin Fields. So let's get right to Tampa Bay 27, Chicago Bears 17. The Bucs also moved to 2-0, tied with the Falcons for first place. We'll see if the Saints can join them tonight. NFC South, we mentioned at the beginning of the year, not the most difficult schedules in the world. So now the Bucs, looking pretty good offensively. Mike Evans with a huge game. Baker Mayfield's playing good ball. The Bucs defense, we talked about Justin Fields maybe having some problems with the pass rush. He was just having problems with everything yesterday. So let's start on the Bucs side, at least here, Sam. Let's give them credit, and then we'll go into some of the issues that the Bears are having.
Okay, let's do that.
Look, the Bucs. Baker Mayfield's playing good ball. He's actually, outside first play of the game. Kind of forces one, could have thrown an interception. It was really clean outside of that. This is the best I've seen Baker Mayfield throw the ball and actually throw with some anticipation, almost too quick on a couple passes. This is the best I've seen Baker Mayfield play. And I'm not, you and I have talked about us being out on Baker because of the inconsistencies over the last 5 years. But I think Dave Canales, the offensive coordinator for the Bucs, not only bringing a more QB-friendly scheme to the mix here, but, tapping into the playmakers that they have, Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, and getting Baker Mayfield playing on time and with confidence. Really impressed by everything they're doing in Tampa Bay offensively right now.
Yeah, 9.7 yards per attempt kind of speaks for itself. And he left some meat on the bone. Baker missed he overthrew Chris Godwin, I think, for what should have been a touchdown. And it was that's a 4-point miss because they ended up settling for a field goal on that drive on an open target into the end zone. So it is productive right now, and it's not there's more to come if Baker Mayfield hits a few more of those plays. They're almost
Mike Evans going for a 70-yarder. He your guy, you're not your guy, Tyreek Stevenson, but Evans elbowed him in the head, goes up, gets the ball, runs away for 70 yards. That's Mike Evans balling out here.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to say is they're almost exactly evenly splitting right now, yards after the catch and yards before the catch. You see those things swing wildly in one direction. I think generally it's a good number to have balanced, if you're getting help from your receivers, but not too much. So there's a division of labor there. The receivers for Tampa Bay are doing their work, Baker's doing his work, and everything's working. And the other element to all that is the offensive line, which is not playing out of its mind good, but is playing good enough. The issue with an offensive line is always does it reach the level of concern? Does it reach a problematic level? And I don't think this Bucs offensive line is hitting that. It's certainly not where it was when it was at its best and Tom Brady was cooking, but it hasn't descended or devolved to the point where you're like, this is breaking the offense, and that's allowing everything to work.
So I'm impressed with what Tampa Bay is doing offensively. Rachaad White finds the end zone on the ground. Mayfield's playing, I would say, pretty sharp overall. And Evans playing like a man possessed out there in a contract year for the Bucs. We'll see what ends up happening there. Or, people thought maybe at the trade deadline that Mike Evans might be available because the Bucs roster itself was not looking good. We didn't know what we'd get from Baker Mayfield, but they also, every NFC South team has an easy schedule. So we've only seen the Bucs play the Bears, who look pretty bad, and the Vikings, who, they're also 0-2, competitive, but, just an interesting story here with the Bucs moving to 2-0. On the other side, Chicago, again, the defense has given up that 70-yarder, and they're giving up 317 passing yards to Baker Mayfield. Second week in a row, the Bears defense has looked rough, but offensively, Justin Fields takes 6 sacks. And just, so many of them, he's just not throwing the ball and waiting for pressure to get there. It is just really poor right now from Justin Fields.
Yeah. This is the problem with Justin Fields is when you're evaluating a young quarterback, all you really want is a clean evaluation. Remember we had this with Baker right at the start of his career. It's let's just make sure it's Baker, not everything else. His offensive line was a problem. You're if you could just fix that and we can be sure what Baker's problem is, let alone the offensive line. So Chicago's offensive line last year was bad. They've tried to improve it this year. It's probably moving in the right direction, but it's still not good. So you're like, how much is Fields? How much is the offensive line? He took sacks yesterday where it's like, even without checking the all-22 and like seeing where the receivers are and all that kind of thing, like there's some sacks that look obviously terrible from TV copy. He took a bunch of those yesterday that only look worse when you pull up the all-22 to find out what was happening with the receivers and all that kind of thing. Like, there is a degree to which, there are coverage sacks at times, but even, good quarterbacks tend not to take coverage sacks. They find a way out of the play, even if it's just throwing the ball away at the time. Like, Fields is taking some truly terrible sacks that only look worse when you see there are open receivers, not just at the time he gets sacked, but like early in the play that he's ignoring and passing up. And you're like, you reach the point of asking, like, what are you doing at the moment? Like, what is happening on this play?
Yeah, not to cite JT O'Sullivan again, who we cited quite a bit in the preview here, but people like to say, this guy can't read it out or whatever. JT was using the word vision a lot. And I thought there was one play, you've got four receivers to one side, right? When you flood one side of the field with four receivers, the scheme is designed to outflank the defense. And when it's four out, you're probably going to outflank the defense. And that was one of those plays where the scheme did it, man. They did it. And Fields was looking to that side of the field, and he waited like 4 seconds to get sacked on the play. I mean, there was a play where Vita Vea got pancaked to the floor, got up, didn't have his bearings. He actually went the wrong way away from Fields. And all of this stuff happened while Fields held the ball and got sacked by someone else. If you just watch Vita Vea, like a million things happened to him and he still almost had a chance to get in on the action at the quarterback. So that stuff is extremely concerning. He has opportunities to throw the ball and he's not. The one other thing, we use the word athleticism a lot, and it's generally tied to running. My other concern with Fields, this isn't just in this game, but like it just kind of, you see it. He's not athletic in the pocket. He's not athletic as a passer right now. He's athletic moving, right? When he moves out of the pocket, as soon as his acceleration's out of this world, his top end speed is incredible. But when he just needs to athletically move through progressions, keep his feet under him, the stuff that, like, when you watch Tom Brady, you're like, wow, he's incredible at that, right? Just, keeping your base and looking through progressions, all that. And Fields is kind of the opposite right now. So even when he does want to go through progressions, the footwork's just not tied to things. And it's not good. I mean, of course, there's a couple good throws in there. There's a bang 8, boom, for the touchdown. I think the pick 6, the 4-yard pick 6 in a comeback attempt, where Shaq Barrett just kind of picks it off. To me, that's more of a great defensive play than a bad offensive play. You're throwing a screen. You always have to kind of throw it blind and trust that the defensive line's going to get sucked in. And Barrett, unbelievable play, peels off, one-hands it, and steps it in the end zone. But it's just the play-by-play, man. And, taking 6 sacks on a day when, Todd Bowles' defense is tricky, but this wasn't immediate pressure every single time. There's a couple of those, but there was too many of these negative plays for Fields. Yeah,
and I actually thought early in the game he started quite encouragingly. Like, that's almost more worrying than anything is I thought early in the game he was throwing in rhythm, he was hitting his intended target, he was, like, it looked normal. Like, he was just dropping back in rhythm, loosing the pass, hitting an open guy onto the next play. It's the fact that over the course of the game, it then devolved into this, like, I literally don't understand what you are doing at the moment. You're ignoring open receivers that you saw early in the game. You're finding a way to hold the ball forever. Your pocket presence is bad, and you're just waiting until a sack arrives. Like, what are we doing here? This is what we said earlier. Like, Justin Fields looks like a far more raw quarterback prospect than Anthony Richardson, who's played the game of football for like 8 minutes in total. Like, it's insane. We're starting to, I think justifiably we should be starting to get concerned about Fields at this point, because he's not moving forward, and if anything, we're heading in the wrong direction when it comes to this kind of stuff. This is this is headed down a Baker Mayfield path of skewing himself towards bad habits. And it's happening on a regular basis. That something needs to change to stop him doing that.
I just want to paint this picture though too. Last year, remember week 6 or 7, there's a Thursday night game and the Bears play Washington and score 7 points. And that looked like just a rock bottom for the Bears and for Justin Fields. And within a week or two, they're beating the Patriots on Monday Night Football, and Fields is showing signs of life. And it was when he just started taking games over with his legs. And then it became, okay, that bought us some time. He is a 1,000-yard runner and out of this world as running the ball. That's going to buy us some time as a passer. So we still, as we're writing him off right here in week 2, maybe there's going to be one of those games where he runs for $150 and 2 or 3 scores. But man, if this stuff doesn't improve, I don't know if the Bears care. I don't know if they care that he could be a 1,000-yard runner and run for 10 touchdowns. If the pass game stuff doesn't improve, if he doesn't stop taking 5 or 6 sacks a week, they might move on, and we might be saying, hey, look, Fields, you're just not effective enough in the pass game to win.
Yeah, I mean, I think the running stuff, it does buy you time, but he's already had that time. It bought him last year. The running stuff bought him last year and the start of this year. Now you actually need to see it. It's same with the Jalen Hurts thing worked because Jalen Hurts took a big step every single season. Running bought him time, but then eventually he had to show that step every year. Otherwise, he wouldn't have got the next year. The running is going to buy Anthony Richardson time. But if he still looks the same next year as he looked now, we're going to have some discussions. That's where we are with Justin Fields. The rushing bought him a lot of time, but now he actually needs to take that step forward.